Hello, everyone. Hi. Oh, I'm glad you can see me. That's great. Okay. I'm just going to put my main Zoom on again. Good. Well, welcome, everyone. I'm afraid I can't see you, but I've just had a confirmation that you can see me, which is wonderful. So we're going to start with today's session about this webinar about online teaching. Okay. I just want to double check that everyone can see and hear me again. I'm just going to see. Yeah. Good. Nice to see you. Okay, Victoria's here. Hi, Victoria. Yeah. Hello, Ina. Nice to see you. Great. So I'm glad you can actually see me. That's wonderful. Right. Let me just double check I've got the right page on here. See, we're all learning Zoom. It's one of these things, isn't it? How to teach online. It's been a bit of a shock to the system, to be honest. Teaching online, but it's been actually quite useful as well. There's been a lot that I've learned since March when I first started teaching online about how to share documents and what programs to use. Right now, I'm talking to you through Zoom via Facebook. So the only platform I really use is Zoom. Okay, which I found to be pretty good most of the time. It has had some problems with connectivity and a bit of delay sometimes as well. But yeah, it's been pretty good for me in the main, the main thing most of the time. Okay, so what I'd like to do in this session is cover a little bit about the basics of how to use Zoom, very basics. And unfortunately, you can't see my screen. I'm trying to figure out a way to do this that you could see what I can see. You can only see my, my actual profile and what I share, but you can't see how I access Zoom. So I have actually done a little video earlier, which I will share with you, which will show some of the processes of Zoom, and then you can look at that and ask any questions afterwards, and I can pause it and go back on the video if need to be as well. This is just for accessing Zoom and what Zoom features they have. I suppose that's going to be some of this webinar. And the other part of the webinar is going to be how to use smart technology and smart notebook to good effect. Also about how to share documents and other aspects of Zoom. Okay, well, let's make a start. Now, the first thing I want to do is to show you a video that I prepared earlier. Here's one I made earlier of the basic Zoom functions, which a lot of you might already be aware of, but there might be some extra things in here as well. So I'm going to now share a screen with you, which is actually of my screen that I had to take with my phone. So it doesn't look very professional because I had to use a phone to do it. But let's see how we get on. Now, I'm hoping you can see this screen, okay? I'm floating around here in the background talking to you now, but you're going to see another version of me that I pre-recorded earlier going through how to access Zoom and what to do from a basic level. Okay, so I'm going to press play now and just watch the video. It's going to last about just over 5 minutes, and this might make things a bit clearer for you. Let's hope, anyway. Okay. I just realized I don't have the sound on, so I'm going to share the computer sound with you as well, because that's important. 1 second. Which I will also tell you how to do. 1 minute, this is going well. Typical. Okay. Enable share computer sound key. I'll show you where that is as well later. Right. Here we go. Let's try that. And like I said, play. Okay.
When you have downloaded Zoom, you will have a homepage like this. On the homepage, you will see you can start a new meeting, schedule a meeting, join an existing meeting, and a share screen tab. Okay, above we have the homepage, which we're on now. We also have chat, which we can use during our meetings, which I'll explain later, and a list of your meetings. Here are some of my meetings today. Okay. I'm going to show you a little bit about, I'm going to start this example meeting here that I've prepared for you. So if I go to my meeting that I've scheduled, I can press start that meeting. Or I can start a new meeting here. Let's try the new meeting tab. New meeting. Okay, now I can see myself in the reflection. I have an opportunity to now join with computer audio, so I'll press join. Now I can join here. Now if I want to mute myself, on the bottom left, I can press mute. Nobody can hear me. Unmute. I can stop the video too, so that nobody can see me. It's very useful for when they're doing tasks. Okay, put the video back on. Now what I'll see here is a series of different areas at the bottom. Now this is just me at the moment, but when I have someone joining, you will see their window come up as well. I can record my meeting and I can save, I can record to the cloud, iCloud, or I can record it to the computer and save it on the computer, which is quite useful. Okay, within this app I have many different features. So I've got the security tab, which I don't use very often. My participants show me who is in the class, and I can see their windows come up when it happens. I also have a chat button, which I can write messages to my students. Hello. I can send it to everyone or to individuals by pressing the drop-down box here. Close chat. I also have a breakout rooms button, which is very useful for when I have maybe groups of students of 3 or 4, or maybe or more. We can have 2 rooms or 3 rooms. Now it says here create breakout rooms. This is very good for group work, where I can separate students into separate groups. So I could, for example, if I have a group of 6, I could have 3 breakout rooms, which means 3 pairs. And I can assign manually and choose who will go into the breakout room by assigning which name. It's good to practice and play around with that. This has been quite useful. And then I can open the rooms and they go into their different group work. Then I end the room if I want to. Okay, so I'm going to close those rooms now and not use them. Okay, other things I can do here is I can share live on Facebook like I'm doing now with you. Or share screen tab is the most important one that I'd like to show you. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the share screen tab in just a second. You can see that maybe I've got different tabs open. I'm going to choose something to write to you about. For example, mountains. Let's get an example of mountains here. Now, I've got some mountains here that I can see. If I want the group to see the mountains, I can press share screen, and now I'm sharing what they can see here. I'm sharing a picture of the mountains. I can choose different ones from Google. So the share screen tab is very useful here. Okay, one of the most important things I'd like to share, of course, is my smart notebook, which I am going to be telling you about. This enables me to share like a whiteboard with my class. Okay, so I can choose one of my previous lessons and make sure that I share that as well. So I'm going to go back to my screen here, new share, and share my smart notebook. So here is one of my lessons that I've done before that I've prepared, and I can share the screen on Smart Notebook. You can see yourself in the top right hand corner over here, and all the rest of the students that will come up in this area here. That's a very brief overview of how to use Zoom itself. It's quite straightforward. It just takes a bit of playing around with, and you get the idea. Okay, back to how to use a smartboard. Thanks.
Okay, right, so that was the end of that particular video. That was just going to show you a little bit about what I did earlier. Did everybody see and understand the video? Maybe you could just reply a comment to me just to show me you got that. That'd be wonderful. Right, the next part we're going to look at is the Zoom, it's not the Zoom, the Smartboard notebook. So just to reiterate, what I'd suggest doing is to download the Smart Notebook software. You can find it on, if you do a Google search, Smart Notebook Download, it's called. When you've got it, you'll see that it will come up. And my advice is to download a previous version rather than the latest version. Like, for example, Notebook 18 is just as good than the most recent, because they don't ask you to subscribe then for any other reason. You can download a previous version of Notebook and use it. I've got the version 20, and now I wish I'd downloaded the version 18, because it comes up with a logo on there, which I'll show you, which I don't really want there, but I'll fix that another time. So Smart Notebook, you may have used it before. It's designed for the smart boards, okay, that are very popular in the UK. I'm not sure how popular they are in the Ukraine, but actually they're fantastic for online teaching too. The notebook itself, which is just a free app. I'd like to talk you through how we can use some of these features of Smart Notebook, and if you don't already use it. So first things first, let's show you. I'm going to share a screen. Remember that share screen tab we talked about? I'm going to now choose a screen to share with you, and that's going to be my Smart Notebook page here. Okay, so this is my main whiteboard that I use with the students. They can see what I'm writing. Okay, now you'll notice that this is your main screen that you see when you come into it. On the left here, I've got my page numbers. Okay, so I can add pages as I go if I want to. What I can do is, what I generally do is pre-prepare slides for the class. So if I know I've got a class about the conditional, I will pre-prepare some slides that I can use for that grammar topic. Or if I'm talking about travel, or if I'm talking about inventions, for example, I make the slides before, which means now I've got quite a growing library of slides that I can tap into for different levels, which is fantastic. Obviously, you always have to adapt them for different levels and for different topics, depending on how you're doing it. But it makes life easier as you go along to collect a library of different slides. So this is how I can use it. I've got this blank page, my first one here. Now, if I want to write something, I press the text button here. Okay, and I can choose my font. I generally choose something fun like Comic Sans MS, which I can choose down here. So Comic Sans MS. If I go to Tools and then press Text, I can set my text to that particular one, or I can choose from the drop-down box which one I want, just like in Word, okay, and the font size as well. I tend to think that 24 is a good size to use for online teaching, because the students can see it quite clearly on their laptops and their phones and whatever they're using, which device they're using. And we can fit a lot on the page that way as well. So I tend to sort of go for number 24 size. So let's go for what I normally do is I normally go for Comic Sans MS 24. This is the style I choose. And I can write, on here, welcome to the online webinar. Okay. For example. Okay, so I've got my I'm starting to prepare my slide, or I can just, as I go along, I can use it like a whiteboard, which is quite useful as well, because if you're doing a lesson that's quite ad hoc or changing, it's nice to be able to just use it as a whiteboard. Okay. I like to pre-prepare slides as well to help them, which I can always change down the line as well. So we're going to show you how I would go about preparing a slide from kind of start to finish here. To give you an idea. Now, imagine we've got a travel topic, for example, okay? So, let's choose travel. It's a popular topic. So what's going to be, I'm going to think about activating my schemata with my slides. So I might try and choose something from the internet that demonstrates travel, okay? So I'm going to do a little search, a Google search. So I'll show you what I'm looking for now. Let's have a look here. So, okay, let's have a look and see if I can choose maybe backpacking, okay, as an example. I go to images and see what I can find. Okay, so I've got lots of images to choose. I might choose, let's have a look. This one looks quite beautiful. Let's try that. Copy image. Okay, I'm going to put it on the, I'm going to copy, sorry, I just go back there again to show you what I did there. Right click, copy image, and then right click, paste. And hopefully, yeah, I can do it. Doesn't always work for you, so you might have to play around with it and choose. So I've got my first slide up there of a woman backpacking by the looks of it. So I'm looking for the topic of travel. So maybe I could find something else. Maybe let's try plane. Okay, here we are. I can choose that. Copy image back to my, sorry, I realized I hadn't shared my smartboard, excuse me. That was the image I chose. Now I can paste another plane, for example, okay? And I can get more images as well, you know? So I could ask the students, what is the topic of today? And before doing that, I'd probably pre-prepare my slide to show the topic is travel. So I can write the word travel, okay? But there's one feature that's quite useful for this one, where I can make this word come onto the screen in a bit of a, it makes it reveal itself. So you're not showing the topic straight away if you don't want to. So what I can do after I've written the word when I'm preparing my slides is left click, okay, on it, or right click. If I press right click, it's easier. Right click, properties, object animation here, and then I can do this drop down box and choose a fade in. This is the one I like to use quite a lot. It's a fade in button. Okay. So then what happens is when I come off this slide and come back onto the slide, the word can appear. Okay. So I can say, right, students, what's the topic of today? And they might say, oh, walking, maybe traveling by plane. Yeah, well, travel is the topic. Okay. So I might need to put a little marker as to where that word is. Okay, so it's a good idea to mark where the word is so you don't forget it. So when I come off, I can come back and see, right, I know my word is around here somewhere, and press it. It's a fantastic tool because I can use it for all different things, really. So let's imagine that I'm applying some grammar to this topic. Like I'll come to a new slide now. So I can go to my, let's put that on the first slide. I come to my second slide and say, right, I'm preparing another slide. Let me think. If you could travel anywhere, whoops, excuse me, in the world, where would you go and why? Okay. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go and why? An interesting hypothetical question possibly for students to discuss and come up with an idea. Then I might ask them what kind of grammar they're looking at here. And I could, before telling them, prepare my slide so that I can fade this in as well, properties. In fact, it's not a good, the best color for fading is actually green. So I might try this again and use a green color. The reason is, if you're looking to fade a sentence in, they can see black sometimes behind the screen. So I always use green because they can't really see it when you fade it in. So right click again, properties, object animation, and fade in. Okay, so again, let's go off that slide. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go and why? I should have marked it. I'll mark it around here. So students, what grammar are we talking about today? And they might have guessed right that we're talking about the second conditional hypothetical, for example. So that's how we can use these features in Word, and it makes a really nice idea for when you're preparing your slides. You can make it very interesting like this by adding things and adding pictures and fading things in. I can even fade in pictures as well. For example, I could fade that picture in with the same tool. Okay, so coming back on, I could fade a picture in if you want to. It's the same thing. So I really like this fade in thing because it reveals itself. There are lots of other tools you can use around this animation button. Okay, so I can choose this particular word or this phrase, and I could do a, for example, fly in, which is like that. So it flies in when you click it, for example. So, or it flies in and out again as a kind of gimmick. I don't think that's as useful. Or there are other ones where you can make it spin, like this. When you click on the word, it spins around. It just makes a visual that the students can look at. Okay, fine. Or there are other ones as well we can use. For example, let's have a look. Flip around axis, where it does this around the axis. Sorry. So it flips around when you click on it. Well, you get the idea. There's many different animations that you can play around with there. So just to recap on that, you go to the word that you want to do, for example, travel, right click, properties, object animation, and you can find it. Just leave it when the objects click and you can mess around with that. Okay, so Smartboard is really useful for that kind of thing. That's what I use it for. I'm going to show you an existing file that I've made. I've made hundreds of different lesson plans that I've put together on slides. So I could choose any of those. Let's try a more advanced level one, which is quite interesting for you. So here's one that I've done with the past perfect. The students to guess. Right, so just wait for the new screen to come on. Okay, I'm going to share this screen with you now. Here. So again, I start with this slide here, and I ask the students, right, who are these people? Who are these famous people? And they can guess who they are. Einstein, Nelson Mandela, Winston Churchill. And then I could go straight into my grammar. But here I can use this fade in option that I'm talking about. Okay, so now I'm going to ask them to recap. What is the past perfect? Can you remember what it is? And I could talk about the form. The subject had third form. I faded it in there. And then give an example. He had eaten. So I've already prepared these before, and I've put points of where they are coming, so I know where they are. Then I can talk about the use. How do we use this? And then again, I can fade in by clicking on my slide. Okay, so it's a really useful feature. I can also use this feature as well, which I'd like to show you. This is the show screen, show hide screen shade. Okay, it's a screen shade basically, like a blind that comes down. This is brilliant as well for when you've got vocabulary or anything you want to reveal gradually that you don't want to use the fade in feature for. So I can just press it and it comes up with a complete blind over everything. What I'd like to do then is just drag it down, okay? So I can reveal more gradually what my slide, okay? So it's very useful. He was not hungry because he had eaten breakfast, and the reverse of that, for example. It's great for vocabulary. So what's the other one I've done quite recently where I've used this slide to good effect? I did, okay, personality types. Okay, so I'll show you this one as well, where you can see how we use this feature in a bit more detail. So this combines a little bit of everything. So I get the slide, okay, like here, and I'd ask the students what these things mean, okay? So what does knowledgeable mean? And they tell me, hopefully, that you know a lot. So I can use the fade in feature and the slide together. What does superior mean? Better than. What is inferior? Not as good as, for example. And it's very good for revealing meaning of vocabulary as well, even if you're using, you know, L1, Russian or Ukrainian, to do that. Again, just to recap, that feature is, I'll just close it, it's up here. Next to the save button, it's a little show screen shade, which I'll click and then move up, etc. Now, even if I want to, I can move it, I can go the other way as well, okay? So if I've got something I want to reveal here, I can go that way, okay? Or even right to left. So it's a really useful feature that it is great when you don't want to show too much information at once and you want to go bit by bit. It's fantastic. Okay, so there's a good example of something like that. Now, the other part that's really important is how to share worksheets with students. Okay, so what's fantastic is there's so many different online resources that you can just tap into. It cuts down on time. If you think in a classroom, you're spending a lot of time getting your photocopies, handing them out to everyone, and then eventually everyone's got their sheet, and all that time that's lost in a classroom. In an online lesson, you can actually get straight to it immediately. So you find yourself getting through grammar and tasks a bit quicker, I think, online. It's not as enjoyable, in my opinion, as face-to-face. You don't have that interaction, but there is a lot of positives about it, where you can really learn a lot about it. So let me show you an example of how we can add a worksheet to this. So let's take this example, right? This was about negative personality types, okay? So I start with this slide, and I just put it up there. It's not proper schemata, but I could have done something a bit more interesting, actually, when I think about it. I've put a series of words up here, of idioms, describing negative personality types, okay? Then I would do a bit of a reveal of what they are at the bottom here, and then can they match the description to the types? So, for example, bossy boots is someone who always tells you what to do. But a wet blanket is a negative person. A know-it-all, well, someone who thinks they know everything. Space cadet, someone in a world of their own. Crybaby, someone who often complains. And a loose cannon is a crazy person. Obviously, I would have built up to this in a long way and got them to think about what they might be and come up with some suggestions. Okay, but I've got a nice reading to go with this task. So I'd go into my files, which you can't see me accessing, unfortunately. But if you store it in your documents, okay, I'm going to find my sheet that I've got, my scanned in worksheet on this exact topic. Okay, so I'm hoping you can still see my screen after all that. Just double check. Yes. Oh, you can't. I'm so sorry. I've just been talking to you for a while. I didn't realize you couldn't see what I was doing, so forgive me. This is what I was doing, sharing the information here. Crybaby, somebody cries a lot, etc. So forgive me, I didn't realize you couldn't see me there. Yeah, so that was that slide. Now I'm going to attach a document to this this theme, this topic. Okay, so I've got a worksheet ready. Someone. And when I find it, I'm going to share it so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, it's not actually working for me right now, which is a bit frustrating. I think it's just the way it is. It's a shame. It doesn't really matter too much which document it is, but I'd like to show you the actual one. Okay, well, for example, I could share a different one, and that would be this one. I can't find my original, unfortunately. Yeah, so I can now share a document about personality. So you can see from here, this document is being shared with my share button, okay? So I click new share, and I can, on the bottom of the page, which you can't see now because I can't show you that, and I can skip between Smartboard. Then I go back to my new share button, at the bottom of the tab, to the document. Okay. Now, if you have PDF Reader, it's really useful. Like Adobe Reader is really good. Okay, if you download that for your computer, you can then show your documents here that you've scanned in or you've taken from somewhere, and you can change them by pressing the draw button here, for example. Now I can circle or underline words on the actual text, which is really useful as well. And if the students are asking questions, I can actually write them in gap fills, and I can use them to point them in the right direction. Okay, I can even mark stress on individual words. So it's very useful for that. And I can erase as well. Once I've made a note on it, I can erase. I can say, I can write. If you have to get used to writing with this pencil, but you can write on there as well. Okay, and it's pretty useful. So that's a really good tool. That's from the Adobe. I suppose you call it an application that you can download. ADOBE. I'll even write it here if you're not aware of it. It's a PDF reader. Okay. All right. Now, where I get my documents from varies. I have a lot of books that I use. Okay. And I often scan them with a mobile scanner called Cam Scanner. Okay, you can use that, which is pretty good. I'm not sure if you have this, but it's called, you might be able to see it there. It's called CS Cam Scanner. Okay. Now, it's an app you can download for your phone. It's fantastic. It's free. And with it, you can just take a picture, and then it scans the document you want very well and makes it in the right position and makes it the right color. And then you can save it to your computer and you can use it. So if you're using hard copy books. The other thing, what I tend to use, which is very useful, is the website Scribed. Okay, I'm going to share a screen again back to Smartboard with you so you can see what I'm talking about. Right, the website Scribed. Okay, I'm going to write it here for you. You pay about £8 a month or something, but it has hundreds of books available, loads of them English language books. So you can see the quality of the book that I've got here was taken from Scribed. Okay, so it's a downloadable book. This is from a advanced, I can't remember which particular book this is, but I've got a whole load of books that I've downloaded from them that's really useful. I'll see if I can show you some of those as well. For example, Cutting Edge or Headway is something I use quite a lot. Let me show you the shared screen again. Okay, if I give you an example of a book that I've downloaded, you can sort of see the quality of it from Scribed, and it's here. So it's going to be better than any scanning you can do at home, I think. It has the whole book here. And again, this is an Adobe Reader PDF file. So it's been saved as a PDF. Okay, and if I want to go to, I'm looking at my index here. I'm trying to find which grammar I'm going to use. So maybe I want to look through my grammar or my vocabulary. Let's say I want to look at modal verbs. Okay, I can have a look down there, and then I'll just type in here. What page number is that? 30. Okay, so it should go to about 30. It might be one page after, but there it is. And I've got my modal verbs on there. I can use that in the class. Okay, so this is the entire book I'm looking through here now. If I want to save this page as an individual page, I can right-click, print, okay, and save as PDF. It's called Save as PDF. And then I choose my page number, which I think is number 31. Okay, save as, then I can put it into my files. Then it's ready to be emailed to the students for homework or what have you. So I get lots of files for homework, lots that I can share on the screen. There is a lot to take in with online teaching if you haven't done it before. The best advice is just to go slowly and work it out as you go, really. But I think one of the best places to start from is would be the Smart Notebook download. Okay, so if you download Smart Notebook, and then maybe think about scanning some of your worksheets on there, but you can use that like a whiteboard, and it makes a big difference for you. Okay, other features that we haven't discussed. Just a second. Let's show you an example of other things you could do. You can actually share videos as well, right? So when you're sharing a video, it's important that you share the sound. Okay. Now, when I showed you that button, look here, we have a. Right, 1 second. I'm going to show you now. So, 1 second. Got some text from somebody from work. Okay. When I share a screen with you, sometimes I want to put a video on there as well. Okay. So if I'm sharing a video, I have to go. Let's have a look. I'll take you through the motions of what I'm doing. So I'm going to go on to my plain thing here I looked at before. Okay. This time I'm going to look up for a video that I can share. So let's say headway video, or okay, a video on, I don't know, what can I do? Plane. Okay, let's take the plane video. Okay, right, video. Oh God, this is a bad example. Let's try mountains instead. Thinking off the cuff here. Mountain, official trailer, or yeah. I want to share a video with you. So I'm going to click on the video that you can see here. So I've shared the screen, but one thing I have to do before I do it is to share computer sound, okay? If I don't share the sound, you won't be able to hear it as well. But it's really useful. So you click on more, share the sound, press play, and you can hear as well. And I love sharing videos with students because it's a really useful thing. Everything's at your fingertips when you know what to do. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my folder now. Just I might stop sharing completely and see if I can just check we haven't got any questions from anybody. Right. So has anybody got any questions for me about this webinar so far? Because I've got a feeling there's going to be quite a few, so I thought I'd allow a bit of time. Maybe you could start asking me any questions on chat, and I'll see if I can answer them a little bit in a bit of detail. Let me know what you think. Okay, so I'm just going to sit quietly. Okay, well, I'm not getting any questions so far, so I might start just showing you an example lesson that I've used on Zoom. It's a bit more interesting with different parts to it. So, okay, let's try a bit about the conditionals with you. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I've done for travel before. Okay, right, I'm going to share an example lesson that I've done that utilizes a lot of the things that we're talking about. Okay, so here's an example that well, it's quite similar to the one we talked about before. I'm going to share the screen with you now. Right, this is all about travel. Okay. Oh no, I don't want to optimize. Okay, 1 second. Okay, right. So this is a travel one that I've done before. So you'll notice I've started with a picture, and I like to take the students through what these things are on the picture. Then I can use the fade in button that we talked about for travel. Remember, properties, right click, object animation, fade in. Okay. Next step, we've got this slide where I could, if I don't want to give them a prompt, I can use the screen slide to come down. When they start struggling, maybe, depending on the level, I could give them some prompts, some help by revealing a little bit more. I would go to because. It's quite useful. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go and why? Okay. I'd ask them which grammar is being used. Fade in, it's the second conditional. Okay, very useful. This is where it gets pretty interesting, where the fade in features come in quite handy. So I've asked them, right, who knows what's the zero conditional? Maybe a student would know. And I'd say, why do we use the zero conditional? And if they guess right, yes, we use it for regular truths and facts. Then I'd ask them what grammar comes in a zero conditional. And I give them an example sentence. If or when I cut onions, I cry, what's the grammar? I can use my fade in feature to show them the grammar. Present simple followed by present simple. Okay, it's the same for the first conditional. Fade in, what's the use? And again, what's the grammar associated with it? Well, present simple and future. Okay, with an example. If you study hard, you will pass the exam. All of this has been done by just writing them in randomly. I should have really marked where they are. That's much easier. If I mark with something like a pencil here, just where those parts are, so I can use the fade in feature and find them, because you don't want to be trying to look for them every time. Okay, second conditional, similar thing, just using those things. So it's really useful. Okay, for that. Great. So I'm going to go back to that screen and see if anyone's got any questions already. Hello, what can you say about Miro? Right, can you tell me, Natalia, I don't know what Miro is, so this is new for me. I'm not aware of what Miro is, actually. What is that? Ab Miro. M-I-R-O. Not sure about that. Maybe you could explain what that means. That'd be quite useful. There's a bit of a delay on my computer, so. What can you say? Oh, so what can you say about Miro? I don't know what Miro is. Okay, the same as Smart Notebook. I've never used it, Natalia. I've never used it. To be honest with you, I've only ever used Smart Notebook. So I'm not a guru on different platforms, unfortunately. But I've been using Smart Notebook for so long that it's been really good for me. Because we've had the smart boards. Yeah, I've never heard of it. Yeah. Has anyone else got any questions about today? I'd be very interested if you want to go over something and repeat something. I'm more than happy to try. Again, I've only picked this up since the online side of it, since I've been doing online, which has only been since March. So. All right. Okay, so it's quite quiet on the side of this. So what I'm going to do now is show you a bit about Scribed and what it looks like and what you can do there. Okay, so let's go back to I'm going to share a screen with you now and show you what I'm looking for. Okay, so here we go. Share screen. Right. This is scribed.com. Looks like this. Okay. Now you can search in there for different books and things you need. I use lots of different stuff like face to face is fantastic. English grammar and uses there. which everyone has in their cupboard, but if you need it in PDF form, you can get it. So you can just, once you've subscribed to it, you can click on there, and you can either just read it, and if you want to, but it's better to download it if you can. Okay. Some of them are not downloadable, a lot of them are. Okay. So for example, I've got English file. You can download by pressing that button there. You download the entire book and the contents, and you can access it through your documents. Okay. One thing I would say about all of this is that it's really important to have quite a fast computer if you can for Zoom. It makes a world of difference. So think about your memory, not your actual memory, well, that helps as well, but your computer memory would make a difference if you can. If you've got a slow memory computer, it can be very painful to use or to teach online. I know this from experience when I was teaching, every day with a little laptop, and the laptop I thought was good, but the memory was not strong enough to handle the Zoom, and it was a bit of an old laptop as well. It did make it more difficult. I appreciate not everyone can just go out and get a new computer, but think about speaking to a specialist and trying to get more RAM on your computer, more memory. It made a big difference to me because you don't have as many delays and things that take a long time, especially if you're uploading lots of documents and sharing videos and everything. It does make a big difference. So yeah, if you can invest in one, if you can find a way to improve your RAM, it'd be really important. Okay, so any more questions for me? I'm just going to sit here and wait for some. If you've got anything that you'd like to add to that, would be wonderful. Just double checking. You can all see me. I'm interested to know, actually, just more of a conversation. Has anybody been using Zoom themselves and or online teaching? What do you find good about it, and what do you find bad about it? Because I'll tell you a bit about what I find good about online teaching and what I don't like about it. If when you're teaching online, it's very intense. Okay, I would say that it's quite tiring because it's so involved. You find that the teacher is speaking more than usual. So I find that teacher talk time is affected a little bit because you end up talking more than usual. Often there's the other negative sides are there might be a delay. So you have to get used to waiting for your information to get across to students. So being a bit patient for them to connect. So you might ask a question and the student might not answer, and you go, okay, anybody else know the answer? And then suddenly they start to answer the question because there is that delay thing. So getting used to that can be a bit difficult. Really, apart from that, it can be very useful. So I think, concentrating on the positives, what's good about online teaching? Well, like I said, you can access resources really quickly. It does save time. It's great for sending out homework. You can email worksheets. I can circle areas to be done. So for example, if I'm doing with my PDF file, imagine I'm doing, let's get a conditional handout. I'll show you something I can share with you now. Hold on. Okay, so I've got my worksheet up here. I can say, right, I'd like you to do number 5 through to number 10, okay? Like that for homework. And then I can just email them this worksheet. It's very useful for that. And it's all at my fingertips, so it can be very good. Yeah, so there are many positives to it in actual fact. It's not the same. It takes a bit of getting used to. It's positive for the student in a lot of cases. Okay, so I'm just waiting for any more messages from anybody. Okay. Right, so yet again, I'll leave it up to someone to send me a message if they want to. Any questions? Because we normally have a question and answer session at the end. Okay. give it about 3 minutes, and then if not, we can end the webinar. Okay. Are there any advantages of Zoom webinars for teaching, or is usual Zoom enough? Okay, Dimitro, I would not recommend Zoom webinars. No, yeah, definitely not. I think Zoom is enough. I find I'm going through the webinar with Zoom now, and it's not as good. I prefer just to use the usual Zoom, to be honest. It's a lot more responsive. So yeah, in my opinion, the usual Zoom is definitely better. Yeah, it depends how many people you've got, I suppose. If you've got hundreds, it might be quite difficult. But yeah, I think when you've got smaller groups, around 10, I would just use normal Zoom, which is all I have in my Zoom classes. I don't have many more than that. Have you done any teaching, Dimitro, of using Zoom yet yourself or not? And cheaper. Oh, I see what you mean now. Ah, right. Well, I don't know about that. You're talking about, okay, because I'm using a webinar through Facebook for a third party. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't pay for the Zoom because East West Bridge do it. I just work for them. But I know that you do have to pay if you want to have more than 45 minutes of teaching, I think. So I'm not sure how much exactly it is, but I don't think it's too bad. So it depends how many people you're teaching, I suppose, as well. I think there's a limit on that. I don't know the ins and outs of how much Zoom charge, but yeah, I know that with the free one, you only get 40 minutes or 45 minutes. So we need more than that. So we pay a little bit each month to cover that. But I don't think it's horrendously expensive, but I don't know exactly, But there are different levels of Zoom as to how many people you're marketing to, I suppose. So if you're doing a university conference with hundreds of people, then you're going to have to pay a bit more for that, I think, which is probably understandable. But yeah, good. Okay, so great, you're teaching. Does anybody else have any questions for me at all? Very, very happy to answer them. I mean, feel free. There's no stupid question. I won't necessarily be able to answer it, but I can try if it's about online teaching. Okay, right then. I think we've probably got to the end of that then, of our session. I hope that was useful for you. The Zoom part, I wish I could find a way to show you my screen as I enter Zoom and everything like that. So, but I can't always. One thing I have got is, which I could probably find out a way to email you, is a short video I took on the breakout rooms. And that could be quite a useful thing to show you as well. I'm going to see if I can find that video, but it's been quite challenging to get the videos actually onto my computer from my phone. Maybe we can get that out to you by email, a short video on how to do the breakout rooms. Obviously, you can find information on are there any other great online resources to teach, I mean, topics, books, etc.? Yeah, okay, thank you, Victoria. Yes, there are. There are some fantastic resources. If you go to certain websites, like one of my best websites I use is One Stop English. Have you ever seen that before? One Stop. I'll show you on on Smartboard how you write it. So scribe.com is one of them. I'll show you. Not for books as such, but for worksheets, yeah. One Stop English is good. worth subscribing to. There's so much stuff on there. There's a lot of free things on One Stop English as well that you can find. One of my favorite resources is Teach English by British Council. The Teaching English, I think it's Teaching English. I'll find it for you now. It's a British Council website, and it's fantastic. I'll see if I can find it for you on Google now just to show you. Teachingenglish.org, I think it's called. Yeah, so I generally do that, but Teaching English British Council, let's show you the link to it so you can see where I'm coming from. This is it here. My voice is going a bit today. This area, Teaching English British Council, and it's a BBC funded website. It has a Teach English for Teens section as well, but it's very useful. There's a lot of really good resources you can find on this particular website. And you've got lesson plans, and you've got different areas. Okay, so the British Council is a really useful part. I'm just going to try and show you some worksheets that I've used. Yeah. Oh, sorry, that's not a particularly good one. Let's see if I can find my Teaching English British Food. Cooking in Britain's Today, for example. So you can just go on there and they've got all these different websites that you can, lesson plans you can find with worksheets like this. And I find them really useful. So teachingenglish.org.uk is the website. Let me just try and get that and put it on the smartboard for you so you can see. Put it up here. Yeah, it's that one there. Really useful. That's a really good one as well. One Stop English is fantastic. And all my books I get from Scribed, yeah. It's not a problem, not a problem. You're welcome. Yeah. Okay, if anyone else has got any more questions, you're more than welcome to ask. Sorry I can't speak to you directly. I'm just waiting for comments. It's not as interactive as I like, but well, I hope you enjoyed the webinar and I hope it was of use to you. So that will be the end of that. And I'm happy to, if you want to email me or with any questions about it, I'm happy to answer as well. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. And yeah, good luck with all your online teaching. And I hope it goes well for you, much as we can do in this pandemic. Okay, bye-bye, everyone.